Morning, everybody. How are you today? It's an interesting question to start things off. How are you doing today? We ask that question a lot of people, but I don't know if it's anything more than reflex. We ask that of someone you pass by. How you doing today? You ever ask yourself that? You ever look in the mirror and you look at yourself and go, how are you doing today? I think the answer to that is not very often. Good morning, everybody. I can see all the names popping up. Today, what I have on my mind isn't terribly fishing related, though we're going to use some fishing metaphors to go through it. So yesterday, I let a cloud come into my sky, and it blocked out the sun. And it did that for a couple hours. I let it come in the afternoon, and it was a cloud of negativity. And I saw it, and instead of immediately, putting my positive and my positivity force field around me, I didn't do that. And I let it work its way into into my sky. And then next thing you know, it was dark. In those moments, it took me a little while to get out of it, and I did. And I mindfully controlled my brain and said, this cloud isn't real. It doesn't define you. It doesn't derail you. It doesn't do any of those things unless you let it. And I was letting it. And I've said many times, it's the same thing. If you go, you go, your buddy shows up at the boat in the morning and he's like, I don't think we're going to catch anything today. Boy, next thing you know, you don't catch anything today. Or maybe he doesn't. And it becomes that self-fulfilling prophecy. And I tell you, you have to be mindful of what thoughts you put out into the universe because that's what you're going to get back. I was driving home from Sylvan Beach yesterday on 49 along the North Shore of Oneida Lake. And I come into Bernards Bay and I see a guy out there and ice fishing. And just beyond him, I can see the water. I can see open water, and the lake in a lot of spots on the east end yesterday opened up, which, it was in the high 30s and it had rained for a day and a half, and that water on the ice was going to go somewhere. And I see him out there, and boy, it looked like he was close. I'm sure he wasn't. I'm not pointing the finger at anybody, but I can tell you what it made me think. And my first thought was, how many of us have said, I'm dying to go ice fishing? Problem is, when you say words like that in that sentence, the universe doesn't understand human sarcasm. It doesn't understand that dying means I'm excited to do something. And God, I got a cold chill went right down my spine. I'm like, God, please be careful. I've done a lot of dumb shit, and I've been on the other end of people saying, don't do that. I'm sure he would say to me the same thing I said to people, I'm fine. I know what I'm doing. I'm this, I'm that. That is playing that's playing with fire. But I let that cloud come in, and then next thing you know, when that cloud blocked my sunshine, it kind of took up residence in this area. and I just read Eric's comment. He's looking to get back out on Big Bay. I know. Listen. I'm jonesing to get on the ice. I really am. I know a lot of people are, and even the people that have been out are jonesing to get back out there. Normally by this time of year, we've been in a on the ice for weeks. I don't know. I don't know if we can really go through the whole winter up here with bare ground and 35-degree temperatures. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But anyway, I wanted to finish this thought because it weighed on me heavily yesterday, and I made a few notes, and I wanted to talk. My assumption is always, I'll say to you guys, if I think something's cool, then I think everybody else will think it's cool. In these moments of reflection, I assume that if people are here listening to it, that it's going to help them as well, and that they need to hear it. I started thinking about the Salmon River yesterday, metaphorically. When you launch your drift boat up in Altmar and you slide underneath the Route 52 bridge, it's pretty quick. From there, you go around the unemployment line and you go down the hill. Again, metaphorically, you go down the hill through all those whitewater rapids into the top of the barrel. And then the barrel flattens out a little bit and there's a long run down through the barrel. And then it speeds up again. And you go and you drop off the tail of the barrel and you go right down into the head of the schoolhouse. And then the schoolhouse, so all that speed coming down like this, going downhill, that river's running. It's doing what a river's supposed to do. It runs. And it's moving and grooving, and it's Jerry on a hot summer night in the mid 70s, and then it hits the schoolhouse, and everything stops, and it's big and wide and deep, and stuff kind of gets hung up in there, And in certain water levels, you can have water back up on the south side right there that doesn't move. It just sits there. That's what gets inside of us. Our body brings stuff in through your head, and it goes down through your body and out your feet into the ground. The ground, the earth, grounds us, just like an electrical connection. Our feet ground us to the earth. And then everything goes down into the earth, and the earth absorbs it all and takes it all away, which is its point. When your current is running and flowing, it's when you're at the best. And you're especially when that river is flowing and you're doing it in the direction that's in your best interest, in your highest good. Man, I got stuck in a big, deep pool yesterday. And it just kept going around and around and around and around. And finally last night, and then your ego is a part of your brain's makeup. How many of us, I think everybody, how many of us have that never ending in our heads, And I don't care, I'll be fishing and before that first cast will even land, I'd be like, that's not the right lure. It's not the right color. That's not the right thing I want to do, and then, so what's the sense of doing it then at that point? Because I'm not going to be successful with something that as I throw it out there, I go, nah, that's not going to get bit. I don't know why I put that on. And then you reel it back in and you change color and you do it again. And you're like, I don't know if that's any better either. When that river's flowing inside of us, that's when we're at our best. And I got stuck in a big, dark, deep pool with a back eddy that just kept going like this yesterday until I finally said to myself, to whatever I call that portion of my brain that is the ego, and say, shut up already. I'm not listening to you. You're not real, and you're not telling me the truth. You're trying to keep me in whatever parameter you think I should stay in. and I'm not doing it anymore. I'm done. And ego is not, oh, look at me, I'm the greatest. I mean, that is egotistical. But the ego, the superego, the id, like those are Freudian terms for your psychological makeup. And somebody long ago, whether it was Freud or somebody before him, came up with ways to describe the different voices in our heads, because mine's endless. On the surface, it looks like a duck, calm, cool, collected, just tooling around. Underneath the surface, those duck feet are going nonstop, 24/7. Sometimes you got to calm those feet down. You got to calm them down. You got to forcibly calm them down. And last night, and certainly with Courtney's help, she's a blessing in a lot of ways, to me that way. We talked it out, and I said, man, I was saying some horrible things to myself about myself in those moments. You're not good enough. You don't deserve this. You don't this, you don't that, something bad's going to happen to you now that you're, going to be successful, to derail all that. Holy shit. I've said it to you 1,000 times. I would never say something like that to someone else. I just wouldn't. I despise being rude and rudeness. I don't have any place for it in my life. I would never say something like that to someone. But boy, I say it to myself all the time. And I listen to it in my head all the time. And it's a constant struggle for me. I'm only speaking about for me. But if you're sitting out there going, yeah, how many things have you talked yourself out of? And again, it can be little things like what spot I'm going to go fish, what lure I'm going to use, what presentation I'm going to pick, or what job do I do? How well do I do it? How do I conduct myself? Am I doing things that make me proud of me? And those questions, this thing up here is for me, it's always going. It's not always good, and getting to that point where I keep stopping it right in mid-sentence and saying, I don't listen to you anymore. I don't believe you. You're not going to dictate to me. And then it quiets. Now it's going to come back and I'm going to do it again. And hopefully the next time I do it again, I've learned to shut it off quicker and to denounce it faster and to say, you don't control me. I want to do things that are great for me. And if that greatness turns out to be things that are great for everybody else, well, that's an added bonus. But I'm not going to be derailed the rest of my life. And that means everything. That doesn't mean our videos. That doesn't mean fishing. I mean everything. Because this thing left unchecked will ruin you. And I don't know why it wants to, but it does. And it wants to keep you in its grasp like that. And it wants you to stay so you're dependent on the ego. I'm not dependent on the ego. And in the last year, I've seen all of that work pay off. You guys have seen it. Those of you that have known me before or that have followed since the early days or have started sometime this year, I've stopped listening to the negatives and the I can'ts and that you're not good enough and you don't deserve this and all that shit. Because it's shit. Let's call it what it is. It's shit. Shit. And what do you do with shit? You get rid of it. You get rid of it. You bury it. You fucking, sorry. You throw it away. You get rid of it. Whatever you do. But you put that stuff away. Put it away. Put it away. Put it away and replace it, because you're going to have a void there. And you got to replace it with something better. Something as simple as I am. I-A-M. am. I am. I am. I am what? And that's where you fill it with whatever positive adjective you want, whatever you feel, whatever you need. You fill that gap with something positive. I am worthy. I am strong. I am good. I am I already said worthy. And you can be more specific. I am going to get that new job that I want. I am going to find someone to spend my life with. I am going to be the best father I can. I am going to go out and catch a limit today. I am going to convey myself to the world on every single day in the best possible way I can. I am good enough. I am worthy. I am deserving. Those are big, big things. Those are big things that I would venture to say that anyone who is successful in life and anybody you know in your life that is just seems like they got it all going on, ask them. Ask them how they handle the struggle. Ask them what they've done and how they think and glean a little bit off of them. I felt it on my heart yesterday when this all happened that I wanted to share. That I wanted to share this because it was necessary. I assume the messages I get are meant to be shared and that people are open to them, just like I am, because I'm just a regular person like anybody else. And the struggles that we all feel, a couple things. We don't have to struggle alone. This doesn't have to be a solo fight. It doesn't. You can talk to people. I'm talking to you guys right now, and it feels better. And part of that talking, here's another thing. Part of that talking, the act of physically saying the words out loud. I also write a lot, and whether it's just a journal or notes or, I always have a scratch pad of paper somewhere or a little notebook I carry with me or something. But you can sit down in a simple spiral bound notebook like a diary. People call it journal nowadays, so it doesn't sound like a 12-year-old girl's doing it. Dear diary. I don't care. I'm being funny, but I don't care what you do. But it's whether you say the words out loud or whether you write it down on paper. That's called the process that you're doing is called transmuting, and you're getting all of those things out, and then they go away. I don't know how or why, but it feels better, and when you're done, you feel lighter. You've let that weight go. How many guys out there this morning, or girls? When I say guys, I guess in this term I mean people watching. Hey guys, what's up? I don't mean just men. Although I'm a man and I talk to men, and men talking to men, I think is critically important, especially when you delve into things that are deeper than just, hey, what's up? See the game yesterday? How many fish did you catch yesterday? See my new truck or whatever. When men talk to other men in a deeper, less superficial way, it allows you to commune, to have that sense of community, which is what we've built here. And it also gives you that freedom that you can get rid of some of this stuff. And if you're trying to get rid of it and the person you talk to turns out to be the one that is also struggling with the same thing most of the time, and the both of you then can come together as a union and try to figure out how best to deal with these issues, that's when you start changing lives. That's when things change, you know? And when we can sit and talk and really connect on the deeper level, the awakening angler, what does that mean? It means I've awakened years ago to the fact that there's more than just any one thing to anything. I've fished my whole life and I love to fish. How's my hair this morning? Whoa! That was a beaker on the Muppets. I just sidetracked myself. That's all right. I don't remember what I was saying. When you get rid of all that stuff, and it's lighter and you feel lighter, you feel better, and you keep going and you keep going and you keep going. And part of it is because that's your only choice. If you stop and you stagnate and you sit in that big, deep pool and go around like this, next thing you know, life passes you by. You're meant to run. That energy, that current is meant to flow through you and not stick around because, and you think, well, I want to hold on to it. If it's good, I want to hold on to it. If it's good, that means it's going to stay good. You are now Beaker. Well, thanks, Wizzy. I was talking about the awakening angler. There's more to fishing than just catching a fish. There's more to life than just living it. There are greater questions and bigger reasons why we're all here. There's a much larger, conglomeration of issues right now that have got you in front of me in this very moment. Nothing is ever any one thing all the time. If there's two guys in a boat and two guys are catching fish one right after another on exactly different presentations, then neither can say, well, you can only do it this way because you're watching somebody else do it a totally different way. And it's also working with the same amount of success. And you're like, wow. So to me, that reshapes my thinking. I've awakened to the fact in my life that there are bigger questions and there are bigger fish to fry. I love fishing. So a lot of what I do is fishing related. And then I have those moments where I can slide something in with people that might be on the fence about understanding even themselves, let alone how we might fit into a universe that we don't understand, and where did we come from and where are we going, and we can go down that rabbit hole. And I love to go down those rabbit holes. And it's not a rabbit hole to me. To me, it's an expansion. It's an opening. I want to see and find out and understand as best I possibly can what this all means. And one thing I can tell you is, if you're stuck, it means that you're going to stay stuck. It means that you have got to tangibly say to yourself, I'm moving on. I'm taking the blockage out. I'm pulling the dam out of the river, and it's going to flow. And then you're like, whoa, you're just getting it. You're getting it. And if you get it, you will get it all. And it will all start coming together for you. And I'm saying all this, and yesterday I was in that deep pool. I didn't stay long. And every time I go in that deep pool now, I stay less and less. And my constant mindful goal is, as soon as those voices start telling me that I don't deserve whatever and I'm not worthy and that I'm not good enough, talk to the hand. See ya. Talk to the hand. So I'm not dealing with that anymore. Same thing with your surroundings. If you're in a negative place, if you're if you're in a negative place, if you're around negative people, it's going to rub off. I don't know how else to say that. We talk about positivity here. If you're not positive, you're not going to be part of this group. I don't have any time for that. Does that mean I don't care about those individuals? No. But if that individual or that situation goes negative or chooses to be negative, then I choose not to associate with it. Plain and simple. And I'm in the business of getting more viewers and more fans. But I can tell you right now, if that's what you're bringing to the table, go somewhere else because I don't want it. And I won't deal with it. And I'm not going to even indulge it. And period. End of that story. So that's my wow, longer than I thought. And I got to go. I got to go to the tile store. The shower job is coming out amazing, but it's little tiny tiles. And I feel like, I don't know who a famous mural person is, but I feel like that dude because little tiny pieces of tile taken forever. I've been 2 straight days just laying tile and I'm not even done with it. And it's a small shower. But that's where I'm headed. That's what I'm doing. Let's go through. Let me put my glasses back on here real quick. All right, I'm ready. Ooh, there we go. This is the rest of the show. That's what you got. I'm kidding. I can't do that to everybody. Rick Menzel, Jim Hagler, Merlin Johnson, Nate Lussey, Gary Walters, Mark Webb. Good morning. John Burroughs doing very well. It's a beautiful day in Florida. We don't need that kind of negativity, John. Hey, it's a beautiful day up here in upstate New York, too, for November. Gary Parsons, good morning. Any fin is possible. Good morning. Eric Wisniewski. I tried Eerieville, only smallmouth. Ann Eatonbrook, both decent ice, but not much. Kaz had a handful, but looks sketchy. Yeah. For those of you that don't know, those are southeastern spots he's talking about: Eerieville Reservoir or Tuscarora Reservoir, Eatonbrook Reservoir. They're down southeast of Casanova. I grew up in that area down there, deer hunting. My family's had a camp down in Eerieville forever, so we used to ice fish Eerieville Reservoir a lot. And there's some big walleyes in there, big monster walleyes. Paul Messina, good morning, my friend. Nikolai, brother, F those voices. I battle with them all the time in stressful situations. You just come down and think of positive things in your life. Life rips. And life is awesome. And so far, throughout the history of mankind, no one's ever proven that there's more than one. Now, I don't believe that it's funny. I don't believe necessarily in life or death as being the alpha and the omega. Actually, I don't believe that at all. I believe that the physicality that sits in front of us and every day will eventually end, obviously. But I have a real hard time believing that all of this, with as much thought and introspection as we put into it since the dawn of mankind, would be it. It seems, and then when you really start going outside of this planet and you start looking around and I used to love looking at those pictures from the Hubble Space Telescope and that new one now that's up there. As far as it can look, it sees stuff, which means there must still be more stuff beyond that. And it's so difficult to comprehend the size of something. We think about, driving to Syracuse or driving to, another state or another country or across the country or whatever. And you're like, man, that's a long way. How can I make it that far? Boy, you get off this big rock and you could go forever and ever and ever, I guess. I don't know what, that's inconceivable. So it's inconceivable, but it also gives me hope that there may be more because there's so much we don't know. Then then maybe this is all just part of it, and if there is a greater thing, and that's where we came from. We choose to come here, and then when we leave, we choose where we go. I don't know. Life rips. Here's my I am statement. I am making my life better every day. That if everybody said that, imagine how things would change. Really, imagine how things would change. Merlin, the internal struggle is real. Your message is very beneficial to us all. Thank you, Merlin. I cannot say any of these words with any more conviction than I do. Randy, morning. Positive thinking is great, but knowing how to get back to positive thoughts is awesome. That's how I do it. And that's how I've been doing it more and more and more and quicker and quicker and quicker, because there were a time in my life where I let those thoughts rule me and control me and keep me locked in that cell, in that deep, dark pool. I spent a lot of years of my life, letting those voices tell me that I wasn't worth anything, and I was lucky to have whatever little scraps I had, and that was it, and there was nothing more, and I was never going to be anything else. And I'm done listening to that. Where'd it go? Paul Messina. That's why I always end off with NBL, nothing but love. Amen, my brother. Amen. Don Terry, I'm on Lower South Bay. Ice has lost a little with some ice, with some small holes. I'll post pictures on Diehards later this morning. Just got out. Be safe, Don. Catch him up. Eric, you're now Beaker. Jim G, good morning. Mark, thank you. David Moss, good talk. Make it a great day. Everybody make it a great day. It's already a great day. We woke up this morning. Now anything is possible. And who's the next guy? Oh, the Webb telescope. And Mark Webb says it's called the Webb telescope. Yeah. It's named after him. Any fin is possible. Yes, it is. My belief is that matter cannot be created or destroyed, only changed. So it never made sense to me why a soul would be. The moment of life at conception, something's happened. Two things have formed a separate individual thing, and life has to that spark of life comes from somewhere. So it makes sense that when the physicality of us in our physical bodies stop, that it's got to go somewhere. I don't know how else to say that. Gush. This is one of my favorite names, and I'm pretty sure I know who this is. I've spoke to him before. It's Gusher Juice 315. They just got a bunch of stuff in over at Dick's, and I'm assuming that this is the young man that I've talked to multiple times over there. He's at the new Dick's Sporting Goods over in Clay on 31. Not much ice tackle, though. Bunch of Swedish pimples. Well, that's ice tackle. Yeah, I'm familiar with lichen. Actually, Finn. Rick Menzel, positive vibes. All right, we're past our time, and I got to get moving. I love you guys. Thanks for joining me today. Thanks for indulging in something that isn't just fishing. But all of these things. Here's my solemn vow to all of you. All of these things we talked about today, and then some we did use fishing metaphors. The fishing side of our life is important. It's not trivial to me. I don't dismiss it. It's my livelihood. It's been my livelihood since I was a young man. It's so deeply rooted inside of me that there is no me if there's no fishing. All of these concepts that we're talking about will absolutely, we talk about them as helping us in our life, but it will help you in your fishing life as well. Positive attitude, I am statements, grounding yourself, taking the shit out of your life and getting rid of it and forever getting rid of it. Don't put it in the garage. And then when you go in the garage, there's all your shit. Get rid of it. Get rid of it forever. All that stuff will do nothing but send your fishing game through the roof. Through the roof. So have a great day today. I love you guys. Keep your tip up. I'll see you tomorrow morning on Friday somewhere, somehow. It's going to be later, though, I'll tell you right now, tomorrow. It will probably be in transit because I have a VA appointment in the morning early. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. Keep your tip up. See you tomorrow.